What's up guys, Darkdally here, playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, and today I'm going to continue from my last video in this little series here of choosing the right sniper rifle for you, basically. Now, in the last video, what I was doing is I was kind of comparing the idea of a BDC, the HDI BDC in Tier 1, versus using a semi-auto sniper. Now there's multiple things to consider, and I get this question a lot, so I want to go ahead and make this into a short little series. There are lots of things to take into consideration, and I get the question a lot of what sniper rifle should I use? People tell me all the time, you know. Now, I'm no expert. I played the game just like all of you guys, but I do a lot of testing, and, you know, I make these videos, and so yeah, I'm going to do my best to try to give some advice on ways to pick a good sniper rifle. Because really, you can really honestly play with anything you want. The BDC, as I mentioned in the last video, was something that's really easy to use. But semi-auto sniper rifles, like the one I have here, right here I have a Mark 14, are totally easy to use in its place, but there are some considerations that you want to take into, well, consideration. First, one thing I want to say is I get a lot of questions about, you know, am I streaming? Do I stream anywhere? Guys, as most of you know, I have a very slow internet connection. It's too slow to stream, so I can't. However, my good friend Monkatron 5000 often does stream our sessions. And when we do that, it's through his Twitch. And so I would advise that if you want to catch my streams, be sure to throw a like over on the Facebook and follow the Twitter. All the links are in the description below. When we do stream, I will post the link to his Twitch channel on those social media. Just a little heads up for some of you who want to see me stream. When I do, it's in co-op, and it's with Monkatron 5000, and usually Zero Sketchy, Darkchild, other guys I play with, or Sex Cells. Who knows? Who knows who'll be there? But yeah, keep an eye on the social media for that. Okay, so now there's some things to take into consideration when you're talking semi-auto sniper rifles. Before I go right into the Mark 14, which is what I want to focus on today, there's a couple things that I want to say. One thing is, they're not as good with taking down vehicles, right? And now that kind of goes into two side points. A, they're not as good in taking down vehicles, whereas the HDI BDC can do it with one shot. Let's say, you know, for the sake of argument, it always takes one shot, and these sometimes take 4 or 5 or even more, depending on which rifle you're using. And so you may say, let's say that the semi-auto rifle you're using takes 4 shots to take down a vehicle, whereas the BDC takes 1 shot. Well, there's 2 things to consider as far as that. Now, you look at it, you're like, well, it's only got a 5-round magazine, and 1 round is the same, you know, to the ratio of the magazine as 5 rounds is if you have a 20-round magazine. You know, that's true. The difference is, when you're using a semi-auto sniper rifle, and I'm not arguing one or the other, but the semi-auto sniper rifles have a really good advantage in the fact that you can go from shooting vehicles to shooting personnel, and you have that high rate of fire and the ability to make follow-up shots. So while, yes, in proportion to the size of the magazine, you're firing the same rounds, you have the ability to instantly switch to an anti-personnel role and more effectively take down human enemies. Okay? Now, so there's that. However, there's also the ammo thing. These things have very limited ammo. See, right here, I can carry, you know, 20, well, with all my maxed everything, 20 out of 68 is what I've got for my ammo. And if I put this thing on full auto, you can burn through it pretty damn fast. I'm using the Mark 14 right now, which has the full auto option. Now let's have a look at the Mark 14 that I'm using. I'm going to discuss some of its attributes and virtues and reasons that you may want to consider this. Now, I've not leveled this up at all. In the last video, I was showing my SR25. Let's compare it with the SR25. My SR25 is currently level 16, and you can see this thing does goddamn near the same damage. But notice its penetration is slightly lower. Well, that doesn't really translate in vehicle damage. Penetration does affect vehicle damage, but there is some kind of hidden thing with the vehicle damage. Many people alerted me to that, and perhaps I didn't go into that enough. The Mark 14 does take vastly more shots to take down a vehicle. This is, let me put some clips up here on the screen. I think I have a clip or something of me trying and failing to kill undead vehicles. The Mark 14 is just not the weapon to use to take down vehicles. The SR25 can do it in a few shots, but there's lots of differences between these two when you're considering a semi-auto sniper. The Mark 14 has a much faster fire rate than the SR25. The Mark 14 has a pretty good fire rate, even on, I prefer it on semi-auto because you can really almost fire as fast as full auto. You can fire pretty fast, and it's pretty easy to control the recoil. Now on mine, particular Mark 14 that I'm using, let me show you the parts that I chose to use on it. I'm using the extended buttstock, and I'm using the V4 foregrip to try to keep that recoil down as much as I can. Because this weapon has a high rate of fire, I want to keep that recoil down as much as I can. I'm using the G28 because that top red dot sight really helps with quick target acquisition, you know, at close ranges, because this weapon is you know, largely a close range kind of weapon, or it can be, right? And of course the rangefinder and the long barrel for just simply better accuracy at range. These are the parts that I chose for mine, and it works pretty well. I think these parts suit this rifle. And this is a very high rate of fire rifle. Let's go ahead and remember that rate of fire that we had? Well, it's noticeable. I don't even have to compare it. Let me pull up my SR25 here that I was using in the last video, and you can see its rate of fire is much different. It's about 2/3 or even a half. You know, it looks to me like the fire rate of the Mark 14. But it kills vehicles much quicker, and it's not just because it has a hair more penetration. I think there is something more to it than that. There's other, of course, semi-autos I want to cover, like the Dragunov and the G28. A lot of people, I've gotten some messages recently asking me, why does everyone forget about the Mark 14? Why does no one use it? Well, lots of people do use it. It's just not the most popular thing you see. It's totally perfectly viable. It's okay. It's viable for taking down convoys. It certainly is. Just don't shoot the trucks with it. Here's the thing. When you equip a semi-auto sniper rifle, you got to adopt a different style of play. And this goes into what you use on your other hand. Now here I have a pretty poor choice, to be honest. As the Mark 14 is considered a DMR, so is the Mark 17. There's actually not two weapons you'd want to pair together. Now here's the thing, as far as strategy like that goes, if you're switching weapons, you want to consider what you're using in your other hand. When you're using the HTI BDC, it's totally viable to run an SMG. In fact, that's not a bad idea, actually, to run in your other hand, because you have anti-vehicle, you know, ability with your BDC on tap, on demand, bam, you can destroy vehicles, so you don't need a big-ass assault rifle. Quick firing SMG like an Evo 3 or an MP7 or something like that is a pretty good idea to have in your other hand. However, when you swap to a semi-auto sniper rifle, particularly this one, this is what I want to focus this video on, is the Mark 14. This has substantially less vehicle destruction capability. I'll show you what I mean here. It takes a lot of shots, but this thing is damn accurate, has a damn high rate of fire. But as you saw in the previous clips, if you have an Unidad vehicle coming at you, you will be dead before you can take it down. That's why when you're using a semi-auto sniper rifle, in your other hand, you want an assault rifle with a grenade launcher. So you can swap to that for taking down vehicles. Now, so I did say I took down convoys with the Mark 14. Yeah, and I think I have a video of that I'm going to put up now. I'll just talk over that. And the way that works is simply, well, using the explosive drone to take out the front vehicle, like as I showed in my previous convoy strategy video. You can actually shoot down choppers pretty easily. I should have some videos of that. I'll put that up here if I haven't already. I'll put some videos of that up. It's actually pretty easy to shoot choppers because choppers are actually kind of sitting ducks. Sure, it takes like 5 or 6 shots to take one down, but the first shot alerts them. They fly towards you, and then you can just yeah, you can put 6 rounds in them and they come down. So this is actually okay for choppers. I just don't use it for trucks. So using this on convoys, it's just a matter of it blowing up the first truck with your explosive drone after sync shotting the convoy driver, and then the guys in the rear vehicle get out, and then, well, if you're alone, you can just sync shot 3 of them and shoot 1, or snipe all of them. Now, currently, my MiG-14 has no levels in it, so shooting an alerted enemy can take 3 or even 4 bullets with this thing. I'm going to work on that. I am going to work on that. But, so there's trade-offs. What I'm saying is, if you're using a semi-auto sniper rifle, in your other hand, you do want some kind of grenade launcher for if you have to take out vehicles. I would not suggest the Mark 14, the Mark 17, which I have equipped right here, as this is also, you know, a very considered a long-range, high-damage, slow rate of fire weapon. I would pick something smaller and shorter with a higher rate of fire, you know, like, I don't know, a TAR-21 or maybe a Steyr AUG or even an SR3M, you know, something that's smaller, more compact, and can still carry a grenade launcher. Something that complements this, as this is, for all intents and purposes, this is much like an assault rifle. It is considered a designated marksman rifle. So there's that. So that's kind of what I want to say about rifle choices. This is a series on rifle choices because people ask me. So I'm going to start with this rifle right here and say, here's the attributes and the pluses, the ups and downs, and why you'd want to use a Mark 14. It's not good for anti-vehicle. It's really, really, really not. But it's okay for choppers. But for the love of God, do not shoot an oncoming Unidad vehicle with it. You will die for sure. However, it's accurate enough, at least with the attachments I have, with an extended buttstock and that forward grip. You get enough control on the recoil that you can easily put, I'm sure sometimes guys take 3 or 4 rounds. For instance, Unidad Heavies will take about 4 rounds, at least at my current tier. I'm currently tier 16. But at 100 or even 150 or so yards, it's accurate enough, as you can see, you can put those 4 rounds into them before they can even react. So it definitely has its attributes. It has a really high rate of fire, good magazine capacity. It does work well with the G28 scope. That's what I want to say with the Mark 14, guys, and as far as taking that into consideration. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have more videos in this series to help you decide, because a lot of people have been asking me, what sniper rifle should I use? Now, really, it all comes to preference. It comes to play style. It comes to your role in a co-op group, you know, right? For instance, if you're in a co-op group and someone already has a BDC, then you don't need to have more than one of those in a group, and this is viable. And you also want to take into consideration what you're using it in your other hand. For a rifle like this, you really do want some kind of grenade launcher, preferably something very small, maneuverable, like one of the smaller, faster firing ARs. Alright guys, I hope this video was helpful. Just a little kind of series I'm doing here. This will be better once I have more and more videos in this. I'm going to try to keep them short, concise, and to the point. Guys, I thank you so much for watching. My name is Darkdally. I will catch you all next time.